Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be around the world. We would like to welcome you to the University of South Florida School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at the Muma College of Business Post-Crisis Hospitality Management Certificate Program. It is our pleasure to be here with you, and we are seeing many of you already joining us live. For those of you who are joining live, I would like to go through very quick couple of housekeeping items. As you can see, you can watch us in YouTube, and we hope that our sound comes clear and nicely. I would like to just show you that there is a couple of ways that you can interact with our instructors and also guest speakers. The first one is in YouTube channel. As you see that, please click on the comment section and you can write to us there. We will be monitoring those comments and bring them to our instructor, also our guest speaker. The other way that you can interact with us, which we prefer actually even better, is to please tweet your question or post it on Facebook, as you see, with the hashtag USF Hospitality. Hashtag USF Hospitality. You see two examples there that from Dr. Faizan Ali. So this will be a great way for you to interact with us throughout this lecture series. I would like to bring you the greetings of the Dean of the Muma College of Business, Dr. Moez Limayem.
Hello, my name is Moez Limayem. I'm the very proud Lynn Pippinger Dean of the University of South Florida Muma College of Business. I'm just delighted, excited, and truly honored to welcome you to the Post-Crisis Hospitality Management Certificate. We are absolutely honored to count more than 5,000 of you coming from 102 countries to this world-class certificate. People always during this horrible pandemic and now they ask me two questions. The first question is, which industry or industries will be affected the most by this horrible crisis? And of course, top of that list in all my answers is the hospitality, tourism, and hotel industries. The second question I always receive is, what will happen to organizations, companies, and individuals after this crisis? My answer is very simple. There will be winners and losers. Unfortunately, there will be more losers than winners. So the question becomes, what will separate these winners from the losers? What will separate is exactly what you are doing, investing in themselves so that they understand and they learn that post-crisis, the new norm is very different. The losers will continue managing their organizations exactly the same way as they used before, offering the same product, the same services to the same customers. These are the losers. And this is why during these wonderful certificate will teach you how to manage and how to become among the winners, hopefully now and post-crisis and forever, hopefully. So like we did, for if you may remember, for the post-crisis leadership certificate that we also offered for thousands and thousands of participants, we selected the best faculty in hospitality management. We also invited the most influential leaders in the industries in our areas to be guest lecturers. And we designed 7 timely, impactful, and relevant modules for you to follow every single Monday at 5 p.m. our time. And of course, you can always watch it pre-recorded if you don't have time. I cannot tell you how proud I am of my team who put this together. They did it on a completely volunteer basis. No one is being paid for this because we wanted to offer you for free, because we want to be a resource for you. we want you to be part of this wonderful family we call the USF Muma College of Business. And at the top of this list is, of course, my colleague and very good friend, Dr. Jihan Kobanoglu, whose energy is absolutely second to none, whose passion is contagious, who worked tirelessly during the last few weeks to put together this wonderful certificate with his colleagues. And also, of course, the leadership of Dean Pat Morio, who will speak after me today, is just amazing. They make me the most proud dean in the world. So now, tonight is the night. Tonight, you will start this wonderful certificate. But pay attention, there will be quizzes. And at the end, I'll be honored to have a ceremony and give you your certificate from the Muma College of Business. You are in for a treat. I can assure you that you will enjoy this certificate. You will find it useful, relevant, and again, timely. Again, from all of us at the University of South Florida, the Muma College of Business, welcome to the family. Enjoy the certificate, and hopefully I will see you in a few weeks to give you your certificate, and you will put it everywhere in your office or with a lot of pride. And as we always finish, you need to learn this. We always say, go Bulls. Thank you, good luck, and enjoy.
Thank you. We would like to thank Dean Moez Limayem for his support for this certificate program and, of course, for our school. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pat Morio, the Dean of the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management at the University of South Florida. Dr. Morio?
Jihan. Thank you very much, Jihan. I am so thrilled that Dean Moez Limayem made that beautiful introduction for us. And I, too, want to congratulate you and Dr. Ali and Dr. Mistry for the production of this, and then all the faculty who are putting it together. I'd like all of you to know that this is a very important thing for us. Our task isn't just to serve the students here. Our task is to serve the people throughout the world. What we're going to do in the next 7 weeks is really, really going to be fascinating. We are taking the major areas of our program and we are condensing them into 7 shots, if you will, 7 sessions, each led by a terrific faculty member and industry people, so that you will have the latest on what it's going to take not only to deal with the crisis we're in, but to go well beyond it when we're finished. So we're going to spend today on leadership and planning, which is really important. It's a great way to start it. Dr. Kamar will do a great job with it. We're going to have law and hospitality, and this will be real live, very, very interesting examples of what we have to do to navigate through these issues. Dr. Ali will be doing consumer behavior and marketing, and I know he's going to be incorporating some analytics into that as well, very important. Our own Dr. Chabanoglu will be doing the technology section. It isn't going to just be a discussion of the latest technology. It will be a discussion of how technology weaves into everything we're doing. We will then have our food and beverage faculty talking about where we are in food and beverage operations. And that's not just in restaurants. It will be hotel, restaurants, and other food service operations. We then are going to have a section on finance, accounting, and entrepreneurship. And you say, why put those together? You'll see when we get there, because entrepreneurship is supported by good planning, and planning is part of accounting and finance. And then finally, we'll have a whole session pulling it all together, and in particular talking about how this is applied in management every day. In fact, it'll be content in context. So finally, before we get on with Adam Karmer, we're going to just see a very short clip that will tell us about the statistics that we have with this session. 100 countries and 5,000 participants. Thank you, Dr. Jian.
Hello, Dr. Pat.
Hello, Dr. Adam, and welcome. And I'm going to be learning so much from you today. I'm very excited.
As am I. This will be a lot of fun. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Sir Dr. Adam Carmer. I am a proud member of the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management here at the University of South Florida. And I think it should be noted that there's a little bit different attitude in hospitality than there is in other global professions. So you noticed a lot of thank yous and people framing things in a very positive way, even though things may not seem so positive to you. Hence the topic, crisis is just another word for opportunity. Words are very, very important. So I have some thank yous to get out of the way as well. And I do them up front. And I do them in the order of importance. So first, I'm going to start with thanking you, as you are the students, the professionals, the interested parties that are here to learn and share, frankly, the knowledge that we have for you. It's timely, it's relevant, it's serious, it's fun. We're going to have some fun with this. There'll be plenty of times for interaction. And as Dr. Jihan said earlier, please make your comments in the comment section or go to Facebook or hit the hashtags, however you'd like to do this. We want to hear from you so that we can communicate with you and answer your questions directly. This is live, not taped. I would also like to profusely thank Dean Moez-Lamayam, whom you saw earlier, who makes this all possible. Mentor, dear friend, and colleague, and our dean, Dr. Pat Morio, Dr. Brett Kenker, and Dr. Karen Holbrook at the Sarasota Manatee campus, and Ralph Wilcox, who is our provost, and our president, Steve Carell. But really, the big thanks is for everybody here. So let's get to it. I have a lot of colleagues, and the colleagues that I have, the faculty and staff, are the reason I am here and the reason I'm happy to explain to you what I think is the best way to start. So how do we start? How do we work? Well, we're going to start at the beginning. And as the song goes, it's a very good place to start. And I want to give you a frame of mind and an idea on where we are so that as we move through these next 7 weeks, everyone has the right mindset and we know where we are. So the phrase that we're going to use is a growth mindset. And a growth mindset simply means you're a lifelong learner. You want to learn. That's why you're here. Over 5,000 people, everyone said it, over 100 countries, all these wonderful people saying hello from all these different places. But part of lifelong learning, what's the connection? What's the pull? What is the reason that you want to do this? Well, there is one reason, and it's personal growth. It's professional development. It's because, as Dean Lamayam said, it's about winning. So we need to win. And our job is to give you the skills and the current knowledge and ideas with which you can make informed decisions and move forward and be a winner. In ancient Greek philosophy, many of you may have heard of logos and pathos and ethos. And these are very important. They're lenses, they're frames of mind. And if you understand how to look at the world, it makes life easier. So why is crisis just another word for opportunity? Well, ethos is credibility. And the credibility comes from within, right? That's the pathos. How do you feel? How are you feeling right now? Are you feeling dejected? Are you feeling hopeful? Are you feeling enthusiastic? Are you feeling downtrodden? However these are, we're going to give you some conversation today that we think will help you manage those and put you in the best mindset and frame of reference for you to pull from so that you can win. And of course, nothing makes sense without the logos, which is the logic. So logically, we will go through these. In a few moments, I'm going to introduce a guest speaker for you. And as we get there, I think you're going to find that the program takes a very, very sharp turn into a very clever discussion on what will, I think, affect you regardless of whether you're in the theme park industry, airlines, cruise ships, food and beverage, hotels, etc. I was an ancient Greek scholar, and it was my first love was Greek philosophy. And we had another word we used besides ethos, pathos, and logos, and that was kairos. And kairos meant knowing when to use those three things, the logos, the pathos, and the ethos, at the right opportune moment. So keep that in mind. We want you to take this knowledge, I specifically want you to take this knowledge and use it at the right, correct time. Forward the slide, please. So we're going to start with an agenda. It's good to know what's coming. Yes, there'll be an introduction, and we're going to start with the idea of transformational leadership, which is the framework for this entire discussion. Then we'll go into accountability through planning. We have a live interview planned for you with a serial fabulous entrepreneur that I think you'll enjoy. We'll have a short question and answer session following that so that you can dive in and really become part of the solution. I think that there's a way to get the information sticky and have it something that you remember. And we're going to be using deep metaphors to do that. And then we're going to build skills through these different perspectives. And we have some other ideas: emotional weight, round peg, round hole, thermostat versus thermometer. And then one of the topics that we have to cover as we move forward is diversity, equity, and inclusion, as that is the topic in business currently, and it should be. We'll talk about some summary takeaways, and at the end, we'll allow for more questions and answers. So please keep the questions coming, make your comments. We are paying attention, we do care, and we do want this to be a dialogue at the end of the day. And right now, it's just going to be, for a few moments, just myself. Advance the slide, please. So transformational leadership. Why transformational leadership? And maybe some people are not aware that there are different types of leadership. Well, there's many types of leadership. Leadership comes not just in one form, but in many forms. You can have transactional leadership, which is a zero-sum type of leadership. Servant leadership, which is very popular, but not necessary right now, and not the leadership that is needed right now. Democratic, autocratic, bureaucratic leadership, laissez-faire, charismatic, authoritative, presenting, coaching, affiliative, all of these different types of leadership and more. But what's important to know is that leadership is what's needed right now. And the leadership that's needed right now is for yourself. So what we want to talk about is transformational leadership. And transformational leadership, this is my definition. This is a compilation of a lifelong of being an entrepreneur for the last 30 years, teaching at the university level for 30 years, and understanding where we are in the world. And the acknowledgement and understanding of the reality existing during this COVID-19 pandemic, and the lens through which one must think and act in a leadership capacity will help us survive and grow. And that's why we're here. So if you'd be kind enough to advance the slide. Thank you. Want you to look at these words, let them sink in. See which ones you identify with: care, success, friendship, trust, adversity, challenge, pressure, belief, selfishness, poise. What resonates with you? Where are you? Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have some fun. This is the most important step we can take in becoming the best transformational leader we can. Advance the slide, please. So prior to, there we go. Prior to starting any venture, prior to starting your day, I have learned, I pitch to my students, I tell everybody I consult for, and I am going to implore you to make sure you plan. One of my all-time favorite sayings that I've used as an entrepreneur for decades: a business without a plan is a plan for no business. Think about that for a moment. A business with no plan. You'd be shocked how many people have no plan. And if you have no plan, how do you change that plan? How do you pivot from that plan? How are other people supposed to buy in to your ideas? How can you be a leader without a plan? Danielle Laporte, whom I included here, she's a popular blogger. She's no business degree, regular person, really got involved with understanding the importance of planning, and then wrote a best-selling book about it. And she has a famous quote now, and that's, "Planning for success will make you even more creative." So some of you may think you're not creative. I'm here to tell you you are. There's just different stimuli that you may need to bring out that creativity. And over the next 7 courses, today included, our job is trying to bring that out of you, draw that out of you, inspire that out of you. Alan Lakin, another great American author, really into personal time management, which you need. He wrote How to Get Control of Your Time and Thus Your Life. And Alan said, planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Isn't that where we are? Planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it now. Many of you may be thinking, but Dr. Carmer, what's the future? And what I'm going to tell you, the future is what you make it. Future is what you plan. The future is going to be built on your worth, your value, the skills that you possess. And Napoleon Hill, wow, Napoleon Hill. Napoleon Hill is perhaps, I don't know, one of the greatest self-help authors of all time. And this is a mantra that I grew up with in my home, not knowing it came from Napoleon Hill at the time. But plan your work and work your plan. I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this will throw off endorphins. Work your plan. Plan your work and work your plan. Incredibly important. Then we get to, for tomorrow belongs to the people who prepare for it today. That's an African proverb. These are people from all over the world, all walks of life. Everybody seems to be focused on preparing, planning. Winston Churchill, 2-time leader of the UK, famous for not quitting, famous for staunchly supporting his people, not wavering. I wonder why. Let our advanced worrying become advanced thinking and planning. It's how you frame it. It's the power of the mind. It's how we take our knowledge, our skill set, we internalize it, we practice it, we plan for it, and then we manifest. Ladies and gentlemen, part of your day today was planning on being here. Kudos to you, plan number 1. I am sure many of you plan every day. I'm sure many of you may not realize that without a plan, someone else has one. So if you don't plan your day may just plan you. Advance the slide, please. So one of the things that I think you're going to find fascinating is delving into a specific example with an entrepreneur that is winning in what we all see as a very tough circumstance, a very different circumstance. And I think you're going to see where planning comes in here. You're looking at a gentleman who is so successful that he's done this more than once. He did this back in the day with a concept called Beef O'Grady's. Now he's doing it as the president of the Little Greek cafes that are around the country, many different states, dozens of locations. And I have to tell you, Nick Vujicic is as real as it gets. This is a gentleman who tells it like it is. This is somebody who's going to shoot straight. And as a fellow entrepreneur, I think that you may get some really good insight from the conversation that's about to take place. And Nick, it's a pleasure to have you join us. Really good to see you. How are you doing on this lovely Monday?
I tell you, I'm so honored to be here with 5,000 of my best friends throughout the world. But with your intro, I would say just Sir Doctor. I love saying that, Sir Dr. Adam. I mean, people in the world have a knighted Sir, and then also have the doctoral. But really glad to be here. Really appreciate the opportunity to do this. And I guess one thing when you said how this crazy times create these wonderful opportunities, for me, thinking about to be on a video with 5,000 people all over the world. A year ago, I never would have dreamed this would happen. And so hats off to, I'm also a bull, so I'm very excited about that. I got my master's degree there. So certainly very honored to be here. And thank you very much for letting me, allowing me. And I'm going to join in on the course as well, because this looks like wonderful stuff.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you here. And as you know, I'm a big fan. I love your work ethic. I love your creativity. I love your earnestness and your honesty. And the reason that I was so excited that you agreed to be part of this today is because I think authenticity, that truthfulness, that realness is what people need to hear. They need to know what's going on in the world. They need to know they're not alone. They need to know that there are ways to deal with what's going on. So, Nick, I want to build on the planning that I was drumming into the ether, and how important that was. And just as a transition into our interview, would you be kind enough to share with the audience the planning that you do and have done, and how that's turned out, and how you feel about planning in general?
Sure. So, for us right now, Little Greek is called Little Greek Fresh Grill. It's a franchise. We have 44 locations in 6 states, primarily Florida and in Texas, Dallas, Texas. It's a high quality, fast casual environment, everything made fresh from scratch. So as I go as president of, and I'm the owner of the franchise company, every year we set our planning, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll look back to 07, 08 when we had a recession, and I said, okay, well, we dropped the Beef O'Brady's. Our sales went down 10, 15%. That's about as bad as it gets. Okay, so we're going to go there, plan ahead. Okay, what if that happens? And then during the course of the year in Florida and Texas and the Southeast United States, we're usually used to preparing for heavy weather events, hurricane, tornadoes, restaurants shut down for a couple of days. How do you get through that? But this, and I'm sure all the folks on here as well understand, unprecedented. March 16th, our whole world got turned upside down. And I remember distinctly, we had kind of planned, we saw some things coming. I just didn't think it would get that bad. We'd ordered sanitizer units several weeks earlier for all their stores. But to have that happen was unprecedented, and things moved very quickly, unfortunately, negatively. So it was definitely quite the surprise. And we were trying almost daily updating franchisees on what was going on.
Wonderful. And in your own life, Nick, how does planning lead to what you do on the daily? So do you have a schedule that you could share with us, or that maybe you had early on before you had so many restaurants, so that it could grow that way?
Well, yeah, one thing, and I guess maybe Adam's not really planning as much as one of my big proponents is to write down and set goals. So when I was, a lot of folks out there, I went to Cornell University for undergrad, and I wrote down, someday I want to be president of a restaurant company. And with Little Greek, when we started Beef O'Brady's, there were 30 restaurants, and we built it up to 270 restaurants doing 250 million in sales, kind of almost beyond my wildest dreams. But back to your question, definitely we're constantly doing planning, setting goals, writing game plans, and then making those little steps towards getting those goals. And that's one thing I like to tell folks who are early in their careers: don't be afraid to set like 5, 10, 15-year goals, and you'll hit those. But this was certainly one of those, and I think you touched on at the very beginning of your introduction. This is one of those life-changing events that some people thrive and become very successful. Other people, it eats them up, and they really kind of get stuck, and they can't really get out of it. So I really am glad everybody here is obviously these are the folks who want to move and move beyond it. And that's kind of what with me at Little Greek and our corporate team, we're working on every day. We're kind of building our plan for next year. And I guess one of the things, maybe there'll be a post-crisis hospitality certificate, because that's one of the things, Adam, we don't know where this is going. We're
exactly right.
Yeah, but
Nick, we can only control ourselves. We can only do what we can do. So we can't control the weather, but we can control how we're prepared for it. We can't control the pandemic, but we can control how we react to it and how our skill set will do that. So we listen to you and we hear the passion, we hear the integrity, we hear all of that. And we know without question that you are in it to win it. So having said that, when we hear you, tell us what the single biggest issue that you had when this all hit. Was it employees? Let's start there. What did you do with the employees? What was the mindset?
Well, it kind of, unfortunately, normally like you get a hurricane, you can see it coming. So we know a couple of days ahead of time, we're kind of preparing. It happened so quickly, and we are, in 6 different states. So we were having to communicate with franchisees almost on a daily basis. Most of our in our world, we're communicating mostly through the owner-operators of each of the Little Greeks. They're responsible for disseminating information to their staff. Also, we had to educate customers. We had customers like, what do I do? We were in Florida. We were curbside pickup only. Our dining rooms were closed. Dallas, Texas, Boardman, Ohio, Chicago, Illinois. So we had to train customers to just call ahead. We're going to meet you out the front door, build signs and things like that. So one of the things what I do recommend to all your students, these are great forums. I'm on a National Restaurant Association Executive Advisory Board for Fast Casual. So we represent several thousand units, several $1 billion in sales. We were getting together on a daily basis, also trying to strategize. How are you handling this? What are you doing? Legally, how are you setting up? How are you watching your supply chain? What are we doing financially? Because my biggest concern initially, Adam, was our market went, we were on the accelerator and all of a sudden we were crashing into the brakes. And I was telling my franchisees, save cash. We don't know how long it's going to last.
You know what, Nick? Let me pause you right there just for a moment, because this is brilliant where you are right now. So would you share with our participants some of the issues that you ran into and how and I'm going to call this planning because that's what it is to me. So you, with your franchisees, what were the parameters for them to be a franchise? What would be different from those than from other franchisees?
Great question. And this is, I guess, reflects back to I like to tell people I have my 100 top career mistakes, and I made obviously new ones here at Little Greek. But one of the mistakes I made at Beef O'Brady's, we allowed franchisees to come on board and they were borrowing too much money. They were initially, it was $250,000 to build a Beef O'Brady's, then I got up to $500,000. We would go to openings. I go, where'd you get that Hummer? I used my SBA money to buy that car. And I said, that's crazy. And in 07, 08, when the market crashed, we saw 100 restaurants close. So when I started doing Little Greek, I said, I don't want to go through that again. That was terrible, where people's life savings were lost. So with Little Greek, we intentionally kept the investment very low, 150 to maybe 200,000 if you could find a shutdown restaurant. Also, I asked my franchisees, I don't want you out there borrowing a bunch of money. We want you going all cash, kind of go singles and doubles, not try to get the home run. But we were, ironically, as I look back, we were lucky, but we were kind of built for this whole crisis. Our franchisees are in very small locations. So I think in the future, you're going to see restaurants shrink in size. Our delivery, and I think we might touch on it later, is our delivery through Uber Eats has doubled. So we were going mostly 1,200, 1,400 square foot restaurants. We were already doing 50% takeout as well, and our franchisees had no debt. So we were very fortunate with Little Greek that our franchisees, we really have not lost any restaurants just because of COVID. We had one store that sold to another person, and another one got out of their lease, but otherwise we've been very lucky there. So thanks.
So this is amazing on several levels. So the statistics that are coming out from the SBA are much different than those that are coming out from the unemployment office, right? And there is tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of small businesses that have gone out. And many of those didn't do what you've suggested, which is they were over leveraged and they didn't have the wherewithal or the elasticity because they had not planned for it. So one of the other things that happens is even though you had planned for it and this came on, you still had money issues because there's no money coming in the door. You've got this 35% drop. And for those of you who are not familiar with the restaurant industry, as a general statement, a well-run restaurant will put about 10% net profit to the bottom line. That's just an industry average. It's not specific to Nick's places, but that's just a go for. So if you drop 35%, it doesn't take a mathematician to figure out there's no way to make the bills. So they had these programs that came out from the government in the United States, the PPP program, the SBA loans, and all of this. Nick, would you share with the participants if your franchisees went in and did the PPPs and or the SBAs, and B, did you support that? Yes or no?
Great question. So just for folks in other countries, PPP was the U.S. government realized that this was not business's fault. The government was forcing businesses to stop. So it was kind of amazing that they put together very quickly a $600 billion program to push money out into restaurants, hotels. I mean, they were doing law firms, virtually any business. They were pushing money out to help pay for 2 months of your rent and payroll. So, but with Little Greek, I'd say 60% of our franchisees are from other countries. So a lot of them were like, what is this payroll protection plan? Am I eligible? So we were telling them, and now I don't know, Adam, I don't know if you're aware, but there are 2 waves. The first wave of money, we didn't get in. We made a mistake. We went with the big banks, and actually it turned out the smaller local banks did a better job, but we got all of our franchisees, and I started introducing them to other bankers, and we helped them get through the process. And by the second wave, we had 100% of our franchisees receive PPP funding, which allowed them to get that money to keep their business afloat, keep employees getting paid, and keep that, we bought a couple months of survival.
And as you said, and I want to make sure that this point is made, just because they didn't get the first round of PPPs didn't mean they didn't go back and try for the second. And thankfully, it sounds like the majority of the people that applied for it actually got it.
Correct.
And it dramatically helped them. And you did keep employees on payroll. Correct. And your businesses are still in business. Right. And this is all part of it because it's pivoting. It's right. Having a plan and being able to change that plan. And this is wonderful. So ladies and gentlemen, when we started and we were talking about transformational leadership, this is what I was referring to. So Nick isn't just the owner of the franchise company. He's not the person that just made Little Greek triple 1 year in sales and then be able to go and actually be franchisable. He's not just the gentleman that did all that. He's a gentleman with a plan. He calls them goals, same thing. You have to plan to hit your goals. And because they were not burdened, his franchisees were not burdened with excess debt, he was able to then say, listen, you can take on a little bit now. And the PPPs, for the most part, for those who are not aware, shouldn't even be debt if they're used properly. They'll be able to go right back and they'll be written off, and it's a non-issue. It was to keep everybody in business. So this is wonderful. So let's go from Nick, from PPP to PPE. So PPEs are now the talk of the country, and all these, the plastic dividers and the masks and the extra gloves and the sanitizers and the extra time and attention that it takes to keep your restaurants operating in the time of COVID. This was a pivot. Would you walk us through a couple of things here, Nick? Would you walk us through A, what your restaurants are doing, and B, the extra cost and the various ways that cost has affected the operation?
Sure. So the PPP was quite the conundrum, because PPP is all the the safety sanitation equipment that you need to have to be able to run your restaurant.
Pardon me, PPE, not PPP. Yeah.
Right. That's okay. Yeah. So basically, that's like things like masks and plexiglass. And we were fortunate as we did get ahead of the curve on the Purell sanitizer stations. We had ordered those several weeks earlier, so we had those in. But as you can imagine, the whole finding masks and getting plexiglass, getting all the print information inside the stores, getting curbside to go was quite complex. We did go out and we ordered hundreds of masks that we had our logo put on them. We felt, and I will tell you, Adam, it was quite a battle to get some of the employees to wear them, because and I'm sure a lot of the folks, the folks that are on, they're listening in, if you're in a kitchen, it's already pretty hot. I mean, our equipment's to 300-400 degrees, and to ask these people to wear a mask on the line while they're broiling and grilling and frying was definitely a trick. And also, as you're quite aware, changing people's behavior is also very, very difficult. So we had an initial hurdle of you have to wear the mask. I mean, our customers, they want to feel safe. We cannot have a situation where people are coming into Little Greek and not feeling safe. So basically, we had several levels we had to do. One was we had to order plexiglass shields for all the stores. We had to get signage to let folks know where to order, where to pick up, and also the curbside delivery. Then we had to get thermometers, extra sanitation, extra sanitizers. We had to redo our soda machines. The one thing you didn't think about, we had to take salt and pepper grinders off the tables, remove all the drink lids. We had to get rid of, we were on plates. Well, you're thinking, well, somebody eats, you can't have an employee picking up somebody who was sick. So we had to go back down to disposable ware. So it was quite rapidly, and we're kind of trying to shift. And then what happened, since the restaurant industry sales dropped, all of our distributors started dropping their PARs. Sales started picking back up. Now they're running out of things. So it's a constantly shifting game, constantly. It's like a chess match. You'd move here, or whack-a-mole, because you'd shot one down, and next thing's coming up over there. What happens when an employee got sick? Do you have to shut the restaurant down, or do you bring employees from other restaurants who hadn't worked together? It just was a moving target.
So thank you for sharing that, Nick. I think that this shares real-world application of what's going on from an owner or franchisor perspective. And I think it's very valuable to the people that are online right now and the participants that are thinking, what can I do? You said something that was very interesting. What you said was changing people's behavior. Changing people's behavior. And I would tell you that my ultimate goal, the thing that would make me the happiest, the most satisfied, that we added the most value, was if not changing people's behavior, but if people change their own behavior, right? So everyone's got their own thing, but part of what we're going to do is the more skills you have, the more information that you're open to, the easier it is to see things maybe you couldn't see before, and then change can happen. And I think the people that are participating, change is what we're looking for. If we keep doing what we've done, it does not work. The world is new. It's not going backwards. It's not ever going to be the way it was. There will be some things that return. They may look very different, but currently what we're doing is transformational, right? We are turning from one season to another. We are changing from one way of doing business to another. So it's fascinating. It's interesting. And then right before we get to the questions, Nick, I have one more for you. So as you look to the future, and you're part of the Florida Restaurant Lodging, you're part of this national board, you've got all these dozens of franchisee owners that are counting on your leadership, your transformational leadership, to lead them through. If you were to give the participants that are that are working or out of work or in industry, entrepreneurs, managers, employees, what is the one thing, just one, maybe 1.5, that you would tell them, here's what I'd like you to, here's the big takeaway?
Wow. Okay, tough question. So I think that, certainly nobody has a crystal ball and can determine exactly where things will be, 3, 6, 12 months out. But clearly we, and we're trying to deal with that right now ourselves, is what I think, circle back to what you've started the whole presentation. There are going to be tremendous opportunities that come out of this. The world's not going away. Restaurant industry is not going away. Hotel industry is not going away. Travel. But at the same time, it will be different. Go ahead.
Excellent. Absolutely spot on. Fabulous. Nick, I want you to stay on for a moment if you would. And then Jihan, if there are any questions at this point from the participants, both Nick and myself would be more than happy to take a look at them. So let me serve up the first question, Nick. How can you keep being optimistic during these depressive times? Any suggestions?
Well, yeah, certainly it is tough. I mean, and I think you see people discuss the whole psychological piece. Obviously, I'm a very social person, and so for me, not to be out in the restaurants, I'd love to have lunch with Adam. I mean, it's very difficult. So I think each person individually has to look at what kind of makes them work, what can kind of bring some comfort to themselves, and do those things. I mean, you almost have to, in some way, take some time out for yourself and spoil yourself and do things. Like, for instance, my big thing, I go to the beach at night, go for a walk, watch sunset. I mean, that's my deal.
Brilliant.
Be thankful for the day. So it is tough. And I do see some questions out here too, shrinking size of restaurants. There's a lot going on. And you can get all 5,000 people my email address and they can send me questions.
This is why I love and respect you, Nick. What I said at the beginning was true, and it stays true to this point. You're getting an authentic leader in the industry, giving you real information, not sugarcoating it, not telling you lies, not misleading you, saying, hey, this is what I did. This is what you can do. Let me add to that. So I remember being very young and being asked that question that around the world you're asked at some point, is the glass half empty or is the glass half full? And I remember saying, well, if I'm thirsty and there's water, I'm very happy. And I think that's where you are right now. And if you want more water, we have to go figure that out. We have to go earn that. And those of you that are participating are looking for ways to create water. You're looking for ways to change the reality that we're seeing now. So let's go on. I'm just going to tell you, I do not think these are depressing times. And I know that is a contrarian statement. I think that these are different times. I think that if you look through history, the winds of history consistently and constantly change. This is just our wind at this time. And the wind right now is pretty strong. So for those of you that are participating, I give you my highest praise because this is what you need. Connection with other people, which we'll go through in a little while, and asking questions and getting some real answers. Can we have another question from the audience, please? This comes from Luis Garcia. And the question, Nick, is, do you believe personal protection equipment interferes with the hospitality business when people can't see your face, your expressions might be misleading, and lead to lower quality service? Perhaps. First of all, Luis, I think that's a great question, and I thank you for participating. And Nick, your take on that?
Well, yeah, it's a brilliant question, and it's one of those things where it's almost, unfortunately, a necessary evil. I mean, the customers. I talked to our operations people. One of the number one complaints is they see employee not wearing a mask or whatever, and that becomes almost until this thing's over, which I don't even know if it'll ever stop. We might be wearing masks, who knows? So it is. I do feel it's very difficult now. Some stores have tried those clear shields, which I've seen that sometimes at Costco. I think some of the Disney folks have been doing that. I'm not sure. So that is a way to maybe play it. I'm told they're not quite as good, but I think for that might be the play. But certainly, unfortunately, it is. And for instance, for us, most of our customers aren't even coming to the restaurant anymore. Our delivery's gone from 16% with Uber Eats to 32%, doubled in sales. So we've lost that ability to connect with the guests. So great question, and it is a conundrum. And can we figure out a way to maybe bridge that gap? That's a great opportunity.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I appreciate the question. I think this question is actually on everybody's mind. I think if you're a hospitality professional like we are, to the core, we want to smile. You want to see the 56 facial muscles twitch and move and everything. You want to be able to have a conversation with somebody and have the nonverbals, which is 90% of what people actually listen to, right? Is the nonverbal communication. And we're missing that. And here's what I would share. I would share, you're missing that with a caveat. Yes, factually, we are missing that. Also factually, that is the optical expectation. So as opposed to doing it and hiding or doing it for a reason that could be determined to be negative, we're actually doing it in theory and in practice for the betterment of society and the betterment of each other. So it's actually a sign of respect. And if in your head you think respect, your body will also mirror that. Nick, I have to tell you, it's been an honor and a privilege. I may come back to you in a little bit, but I have to tell you, I think we've got to get through the rest of this for them so that they can take their things. But we could do this all night, and we will again. And Nick, I think I speak for everybody that's here and say thank you for your candor, thank you for your honesty, and stay well, my friend.
Thank you. Enjoyed being here.
Pleasure. So now, next slide, please. Advance the slide. So thank you for the awesome give and take there. I want to share with you a poll, and I would like everybody to go in and take this poll. And the poll is going to be on your takeaway from the interview we just had. So the interview with Nick, you can vote at meet.ps/USF Hospitality. What is your biggest takeaway from the interview? And as you write your word, one word is the way to go here. We may even form some sort of word cloud. For those of you who would like to do this on your phone, there's a QR code on your screen, and you are certainly able to go do that. And I love that we have a voting. We're going to be doing 2 polls today, and I love the voting. I also love the comments. The comment is blocking the QR code on yours. Okay, I see that. As we go through this, I'd like you to maintain your focus. For those of you who have been sitting this whole time, please stand up, stretch out, take a minute to gather yourself. We've got another 20 minutes. What we're looking at. So if we could share the next slide. Beautiful. Planning, I love it. Catering, Heather, is not something that is doing well right now. They're down to 1% catering, I can tell you, I can share with you. So here's the poll. Now we're going to go to deep metaphors. This is something that I have found is perhaps one of the greatest gifts that was given to me and that I've shared with students and colleagues for the last decade or so. And it's deep metaphors from Olson and Zaltman. All people, everybody listening, regardless of your background, you'll be able to use these next 7 metaphors to understand and react to your world. Remember, the whole goal here is to realize you're the transformational leader in your life. You are the one that's going to be able to do this. And I'm reading that maybe the poll was crashing or it didn't load. Don't sweat that. Don't worry about that. What we do in hospitality is we smile, we pivot, we move on. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to advance to the next slide. The first deep metaphor I want to share with you is balance. And I think balance is one of those things that is specifically apropos today. What are we looking at? What are we really looking at? We're looking at the pandemic, COVID-19, and the way that it's affected the economy and everything else as knocking us off of our balance, messing with our equilibrium, psychologically stunting us, making us maybe even not happy but depressed. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know balance is the way to go, that can be a goal. You can plan for it. So remember, balance, there's a yin and a yang, a positive and a negative, an up and a down. There's also imbalance. If you find yourself balanced, you are strong, you're in a good place. Those of you that feel imbalanced, your strength will come from finding your balance. You can get there, I promise you. Next slide, please. Another deep metaphor I would like to share with you is transformation. Now, as a transformational leader, you say, oh, I get it. You know, it's a leadership thing. Well, this is going to put it in specific relief for some of you. You can physically go from being sick to being healthy, from being healthy to being sick, from immature to mature. From having no money to having money. From having no job to having a job. This is something that you can use as a lens to help you know where you are and transform into where you want to go. You need to plan that. Next slide. Journey. Ladies and gentlemen, is that not where we are? Are we not on a fabulous journey? My father, God rest his soul, used to tell me all the time, life is the greatest journey of all. I say life is a verb. And I will tell you, enjoy the journey. That's all we know is the journey. So if you understand that we're on a journey, you have to know there's something called the vicissitudes of life. Your highs are as high as your lows are low. So it's up to you to push. It's up to you to make that journey as fast or as slow as you choose. But I would urge you to plan your journey so your journey doesn't plan you. Next slide. Another deep metaphor is container. Imagine, if you will, going to the supermarket and not having this container for your eggs and just having to buy the eggs out of the container. You would think that there's a lot of, I don't know, insecurity, safety measures. Things could break. You may not be able to get as many. It doesn't feel like you're in control. Well, we urge, we need, we long for containers. And one of our strongest containers in our memories and also our identity. Identity is the name of the game, and transforming from your identity is where the strength comes from. So seek your balance. Know this is a journey. We're transforming, and here we are. We want to do it safely. It's okay if we crack a couple of eggs. That's how you make omelets, ladies and gentlemen. Next slide, please. Connection. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for connecting. This is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. What I love most about this connection is that I know that there are 5,000 people that care about the same thing I care about. And there's another 30,000 people that would love to care and love to know that this was around. So share this idea, this experience with other people. You see the picture shows a couple of young ladies connecting, taking a picture. We're in the digital age. We no longer communicate so much by words. It's more pictures. It's more the videos. So just know that. It's very important to connect. One of the things that's happening as you go through these different technologies that are connecting us, like the one we're using now, StreamYard or Zoom or Microsoft Teams or GoToMeeting or any of these, you need to understand this connection tool is very important. And there are other ways you can connect too. Think, plan, going for a walk. You don't have to be touching people. You could just be there. Next slide, please. Resource. This is a resource. Knowledge is the great resource. Water, food, that's what keeps our physical body going. But the lifeblood, our motor oil, our lifeline, the key to our future is learning and being in. And you really need to understand you are your best resource. You really are. And everything is in books. Everything can be learned. So kudos to you for being here and taking part in this learning activity. But just remember, this is not the only one. Not only are there 6 more of these, but there are all kinds of books and webinars and videos and experiential learning that you can go out and do. Never stop learning. Have a growth mindset and be a transformational leader for yourself. You can't do it without knowledge. Knowledge is everything. Next slide, please. Thank you. Control. This is one of my favorite metaphors in life, and I just love this. I remember looking at the swans as a child. We had a lake near us, and I would look at the swans and thought it was wonderful. And what did I really see? I saw this beautiful, majestic creature just gliding, not even making a wave. And I remember my dad saying, you know, it takes a lot of work to look that graceful. And I said, I don't understand. I was probably 7 or 8 years old. So I don't understand, Dad. What do you mean? It just looks graceful. He said, yes. what you see, but underwater, that swan is paddling like the Dickens. What did he mean? He meant it takes a lot of work. It takes work to change. It takes work to work. It takes work to learn. You can do it. You're doing it now. So I have complete and utter faith that you will continue to do it and you can succeed and win. But you control you, not somebody else. Only you control you. You can be as elegant as the swan on a lake. Advance the slide, please. So the next few slides, I'd like to share some ideas. Next slide, please. So you can build skills through these perspectives. And what you're going to notice is that some of these will resonate with you more than others. So emotional weight. You can see the lady in the picture is just overburdened. I know many of you feel this way. Overwhelmed, drowning in the meta ideas and perceptions and meta talk that's going on. But you can change that. You can change the way you think, and you can lift the emotional weight. People that have done that in history, who have done a miraculous job of it. P.T. Barnum wrote The Art of Money Getting. We know him as the greatest showman on earth, but he was actually a teacher. Socrates, perhaps in Western civilization, the most famous of all teachers, the father of philosophy. Philosophy is where all schooling comes from. The first academy was Socrates' Academy. And Cornel West, our brilliant colleague over at Harvard, who talks about controlling your identity and controlling your ability to make an impact. He's a civil rights advocate, but he's more than that. He's a very deep philosopher, and he's a very important part of teaching and learning. Understand and deal with your own emotional weight. Your weight is your weight. You can lighten your load just by acknowledging that it's emotional, and then you can start to deal with it. And I would agree. Brianna Betts says the emotional weight of this pandemic is shocking. I have to tell you, Brianna, I have 3 children, and I would tell you they feel the same way. My wife feels the same way. And I feel for them. And I am very much into planning and very much into controlling the emotional weight. Yet even with me, even as I'm telling you this, sometimes the emotional weight's heavy. That's okay. Just know, like my father had said, the vicissitudes of life. The highs are as high as the lows are low. The low right now is the emotional weight. We can help lift that. We're helping each other right now. Just knowing there's other people with you will hopefully help. And if you need help, you should get help. And just know there is no better place to lift emotional weight than hospitality. Next slide. Round peg, round hole. Another way of saying that is hand in glove. If you are not in the right place, if you are not moving forward with purpose, if what you are doing does not hit you as having sustainability, ladies and gentlemen, this is a time of transformational leadership. It's you. You get to control it. There are some ideas on alignment that you may be interested in. Earl Nightingale, Jim Rohn, these are fabulous speakers and motivational experts that were alive just in the last 50, 60 years who have transformed and helped people transform their own ideas to help with their employees, help with your business practices. Listen, no matter where you are, identifying these things is important. Knowing that you have this is very, very important. The name of the book is The Art of Money Getting. That's the book by P.T. Barnum, The Art of Money Getting. I have a question in the comments from that. Next slide, please. Thermostat versus thermometer. Please use this. Seth Godin wrote this book called Linchpin and brought up this old idea of the lizard brain. And neuroanatomists identified the limbic cortex back in the day. This was late 40s, early 50s. And it's the headquarters for all of this emotional weight, your mood, addiction, mental and emotional processes. But it's also referred to as the lizard brain because it's also the part of your brain that can have you literally just not do anything. Just seek the easiest path. Ladies and gentlemen, the easiest path is rarely the right path. The most difficult path is not necessarily the right path. It's your right path. It's all good. It's all good. Seth Godin has probably, I don't know, a couple of dozen books out there. And the thermostat versus thermometer goes like this. A thermometer will take your temperature. So as a thermometer, you can go in and say, there's a pandemic. I lost my job. My employees are, not getting the hours they need. All you're doing is stating what's going on. And there's a time and a place for that. Nothing wrong with that. But a thermostat, what does a thermostat do? A thermostat is the definition of a transformational idea. A thermostat is the transformation from one space and time or one situation or one context to another. An example, you go from a room that is 70 degrees and you want it warmer. You raise the thermostat. You want it cooler. You lower the thermostat. Ladies and gentlemen, you could do that in your own life. Be a thermostat when you need to. You are in control. You are absolutely in control. The Art of Money Getting by P.T. Barnum. We'll make sure we put that in the material. The next slide, please. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. For those of you who are not familiar with Steve Silberman's work in Neurotribes, that's regarding the autism and special needs community. You should read something like this, just as you should James Baldwin works, his foundational works with the civil rights. Dale Carnegie's, How to Make Friends and Influence People is almost the hallmark of hospitality. And Albert Schweitzer was such a great humanitarian and equality philosopher. It would behoove you to know who these people are and read their works. Everything is in books. Growth mindset. Next slide, please. We have gone through. You have been fabulous. I know we are at the end of our time. If we can round out to the next slide, if you'd be so kind. I'd like to thank both Dr. Jabanoglu and Dr. Ali for helping with this presentation. And for those of you that would like to stay for another minute, I will take a question if you'd like, if that's okay with you, Jihan. If we have time for that, I'll be happy to take a question or two. And I would like to profoundly thank everybody that took the time to be here and learn and hear some new ideas and maybe get some information that could help you personally and or professionally, either of which is valuable. Be your own transformational leader.
The poll is working. If you'd like, I can bring you the the first poll, and then we can also do the second poll if you'd like.
Okay.
Which one would you like to do? Do you want me to bring you the results of the first poll?
Let's do the second poll, so that everybody can get a shot at this, because I know we're right at the edge of time. And the second poll is, of those metaphors, when you look at these 7 deep metaphors, please pick one and tell us which one resonated with you most. Gian has told me that the polls are up and working again. We apologize for the glitch, but again, it's just a glitch. Nobody got hurt. It's part of what we deal with. This is the pivot I was talking about. When you have a plan, it's okay, because when little things happen, like a poll not working in real time, you have other places to go. You have other things to do. So practice what you preach. Be the best version of you. And we are always here for you at the University of South Florida, specifically at the Muma College of Business, at the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management. And my name is Sir Dr. Adam Carmer, and it's been a pleasure. Let's see how this poll turns out. If everyone would be kind enough to get your vote in. resource for Norman. I love it. And as those results populate, I think this is fascinating. You'll see connection at number 5 there with 14%. The top 3 were the top 3: balance, transformation, and journey. That's where we are, right? So everybody's being honest with themselves. Everybody is right where you need to be. And thank you, because without you, there would have been no connection here. And I appreciate you taking the polls. Can we take a look, if you'd be so kind, can we take a look at the first poll if you have those results, Jihan? I think that would be great to look at as well. Nick took the time to come and spend a few moments with us, and I think it would be nice to see the takeaways there as well. And as he's populating that, I see a lot of very nice comments. And please know, this is the greatest place to be. Hospitality, there is nothing that's going to bounce back like hospitality. Ghost said, what is some advice or encouragement for those who have been furloughed or out of work for long periods of time? I will tell you, out of work doesn't mean out of mind. And if you are furloughed or out of work, I'm here to tell you there are jobs out there. And I'm not saying it's easy to get a job, but it's important to have a plan, goal, adopt, hope. Look at all those. Beautiful. This is wonderful. Ghost, I think you had a wonderful question there. And I think that's on everybody's mind. And what I will tell you is don't give up hope. Hope is the one thing all humans need. And hope comes from inside. If you think there's hope, there is. And ladies and gentlemen, I think there's hope. And I hope you think there's hope. And I hope to see you again. Gian, thank you for taking care of all of this and doing this. And I will bid everybody an adieu and let you know that next week, 2 of my fabulous colleagues, Dr. Trishna Mistry and Professor Keith Barron, will focus on employees and legal considerations. Don't miss that. They're wonderful, caring, deeply intelligent human beings that are really going to put on a nice show for you. So enjoy it. We look forward to seeing you next week. Stay well. Take care.